Welcome to today's deep dive. You know, Usually when you buy a piece of clothing or an accessory, the second you take the tags off and wear it out the door, it just loses a massive chunk of its value.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You cross that threshold and boom, depreciation hits.
Right? It's a fundamental rule of retail economics. It's exactly like driving a new car off the dealer's lot.
Yeah, because things are intrinsically worth the most when they're perfectly new, right? Like
Right.
untested and sitting behind the glass on a store shelf.
Exactly.
The moment human hands touch them in the real world, they just become used goods.
But if you step into the world of luxury handbags, which is our focus today, that fundamental rule completely shatters. Today, we're looking at a market landscape from our source material where the exact opposite happens.
It really is wild.
It is. We're going to unpack how, in a world where fashion trends change instantly and clothes lose value the second you wear them, a leather pouch somehow manages to act like a high-yield stock that actually appreciates over time.
Yeah, and to really understand this paradox, we have to stop looking at the luxury handbag merely as a fashion accessory. I mean, it is a fascinating intersection of history, physical engineering, and behavioral economics.
For sure.
We're basically looking at a masterclass in how human perception literally dictates financial reality.
Because to understand why a bag can be a legitimate investment today for you, we first have to understand how it evolved from a purely functional item into this globally recognized symbol of social standing.
Right, and this was not a quick pivot at all.
No, not at all. We have to rewind to the 18th and 19th centuries, long before the modern concept of a glowing, minimalist luxury boutique even existed.
Yeah, back then, wealthy individuals, European aristocrats and royalty, they needed a reliable way to carry their valuables. Coins, calling cards, personal items.
Because they weren't exactly going to carry these things in their pockets.
Exactly, or in some rough, untreated sack. So, skilled artisans began producing these finely crafted pouches specifically tailored for the elite. That's the genesis. But the real shift, the economic pivot that laid the foundation for the multi-billion-dollar industry we see today, that happened when travel fundamentally changed.
Yeah, the Industrial Revolution kicks in. Suddenly, you aren't just sitting in an isolated country estate, you know? You're boarding steam locomotives, you're taking transatlantic steamships.
Right, the European elite are physically moving around the continent at an unprecedented scale.
And early travel was incredibly harsh. I mean, if you're taking a 19th century train, you're dealing with literal coal dust, soot, rain, and just chaotic transit
It was
hooks.
messy. And if you're royalty or some wealthy industrialist, you need luggage that can physically survive that brutal environment without letting moisture ruin your silk garments inside.
Which is a huge structural challenge.
Oh, absolutely. But crucially, you also need that luggage to communicate your status the exact moment you arrive at the lobby of a grand hotel in Paris or London.
So it's basically solving two problems at once, right?
Mm.
It's structural survival and social signaling.
Exactly that combination. So the demand for premium, impenetrable materials and meticulous waterproof stitching just exploded.
Wow.
Artisans had to focus on heavy-duty durability just as much as elegance. Flat-bottom trunks that could be easily stacked in cargo holds became the standard.
And then, I assume, as travel got easier, the bags got smaller.
Right. Over decades, as travel became faster and less rugged, those large, heavy travel trunks evolved into smaller, everyday versions. So the DNA of the heavy-duty travel trunk essentially shrunk down into the modern handbag.
You know, it really makes me think of the evolution of the smartphone.
Oh, interesting. How so?
Well, if you think about the very first mobile phones in the 80s and 90s, they were massive, clunky bricks.
Oh, yeah, the Zach Morris phone.
Exactly. They were purely functional tools for communication, mostly used by Wall Street executives or construction managers who strictly needed them to do their jobs.
Right. They were heavy, highly utilitarian, and frankly, pretty ugly.
Yeah, but rapidly, over just a couple of decades, they transformed. They got sleeker, the glass and metal became more premium, and they became this massive status symbol.
Oh, absolutely.
Like the specific phone you pull out of your pocket today broadcasts your access to exclusive tech ecosystems. It isn't just a tool to make a phone call anymore. It's a statement about who you are.
That's a perfect analogy. And the historical context of the handbag follows that exact trajectory. The perception of these bags as indicators of wealth and exclusive access is not some modern marketing trick cooked up in a boardroom 5 years ago.
Right. It's deeply rooted.
It's a centuries-old tradition. Owning one of these beautifully crafted bags in the 1890s demonstrated that you had the financial capital to commission exceptional craftsmanship that the average person simply could not afford.
Yeah.
That deep intergenerational historical foundation is the bedrock the modern luxury market rests on.
But, a historical pedigree alone doesn't guarantee a return on investment. I
Yeah.
mean, you can't just slap a grand historical narrative onto a flimsy, poorly made bag and expect it to appreciate in value over 20 years.
No, definitely not.
A bag has to physically survive long enough to reach the resale market in the first place?
Right, which brings us to the early 20th century. This was the era where renowned luxury fashion houses really codified their production methods.
Right.
Designers started introducing the innovative silhouettes we still recognize today. But the core of their enduring value, the absolute foundation of why a bag from the 1980s can be sold today for triple its original price,
Yeah.
is the militant approach to craftsmanship.
Militant is a good word for it,
Yeah, we're talking about a stark, intentional rejection of mass production.
because these pieces are completely handcrafted by skilled artisans. And the source points out that the materials aren't just good, they are fiercely specific.
Oh, very specific.
We're talking about full-grain leather, exotic skins, heavy-duty hardware, and incredibly durable interior linings.
Full grain leather is really the critical component here, because in mass production, factories often shave down the leather, they sand off the imperfections, and coat it in plastic to make it look uniform.
Which I guess ruins the integrity of it.
Exactly, it weakens the hide. Full grain leather includes the entire unsanded top layer of the skin. It contains the most densely packed fibers.
Ah, okay.
Because of that structural density, it is incredibly strong. Instead of cracking or peeling like cheap leather, it absorbs moisture and oils from the environment and develops a unique patina over time.
So it basically ages like fine wine.
Right. It literally looks better and richer at year 10 than it does at year 1.
Okay, let me ask a clarifying question here about the mechanics of this craftsmanship, because I'm looking at the sheer amount of labor required for some of these details in the source.
Sure.
Precision stitching, reinforced handles, and something called hand-painted edges. Is a hand-painted edge really about durability, or is it just a flex by the brand to prove how much time and money they spent on it?
Like they're just showing off.
Yeah, like look how fancy we are. We literally painted the edges of the leather.
It absolutely sounds like a purely aesthetic flex, but this is where the genius of artisan craftsmanship lies. When you cut a thick piece of full-grain leather, the edge is raw.
Okay.
The internal fibers are exposed. If you leave it like that and carry the bag in the rain, moisture seeps into those raw fibers. The leather swells, it frays, and eventually the structural integrity of the bag just collapses.
Oh, wow. So tainting it is like weather sealing a wooden deck. You're locking out the elements.
Precisely. Artisans spend hours applying a layer of special edge paint, letting it dry, sanding it down perfectly smooth, and painting it again.
That sounds incredibly tedious.
It is. They might do this 5 or 6 times. It creates a smooth, rubberized, sealed border. So while it creates a beautiful, clean aesthetic line, it fundamentally stops the leather from splitting apart.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, it's heavy-duty structural engineering disguised as a delicate, beautiful detail.
And I imagine the same goes for the hardware, right? Like the zippers, the clasps, the locks.
Oh, entirely. Mass-produced bags use cheap alloys plated with a microscopic layer of gold or silver. That plating scratches off in a month, and the metal underneath corrodes.
Right.
High-end luxury investment pieces use solid brass or even palladium. The hardware is machined to take the mechanical stress of being opened, closed, dropped, and bumped thousands of times without bending.
Okay, so a bag survives 50 years because of how it's built. That makes sense. But surviving is not the same as appreciating in value.
True.
Like a cast iron skillet lasts forever and nobody's out here trading those like stocks.
Yeah.
To understand why the price actually jumps, we have to look at how these brands manipulate the market.
Right, the economics of it.
Yeah, let's talk about the scarcity principle.
Well, scarcity is the most powerful economic engine driving this entire phenomenon. Many of these top-tier luxury brands operate on a model of intentional, calculated scarcity.
Which is wild to think about.
It is. They possess the data. They know exactly how many units of a specific bag the market wants to buy.